This is 2020, not 1962. Well, I'm talking in context of China and the India-China standoff in Ladakh. In case a war does break out, whether limited or full scale, between India and China in Ladakh or elsewhere or overall. Friends, there are broadly four reasons why China may lose this war to India. Kindly stay tuned to this video till the end. Here I start. Let me elaborate. I am Rajiv Sharma. Why China may lose this war in case it starts one with India? As we know, China is well ahead in every respect. And the public perception, the global perception is that China will make a mincemeat of India. Really? Not so. Not quite. Not so easy. Well, there are obvious reasons for that global perception. Yes, there is a huge difference between the two sides, how they stack up in terms of numbers, various numbers. Take, for example, the defense expenditure. Last year, India spent $71 billion in defense. China spent nearly 4 times more. That is $261 billion. Well, then, of course, the nuclear heads, the nuclear warheads, India has 150, China has 326. In terms of other assets, say, for example, tanks, India has 4184, China has over 13,000. Armored vehicles, India has 2815, China has 40,000. Helicopters, India has 692, China has over 1,000. Now, why I named specifically these three, helicopters, tanks, armored vehicles? Because China has deployed all these war machines along Ladakh border, LAC. And India, mind you, has matched China, man for man, machine for machine, tank for tank, helicopter for helicopter, warplane for warplane. Now, if you talk about the warplanes now, for example, the attack aircraft and helicopters. Well, India has 17 attack helicopters as compared to 281 of China. When you talk about attack warplanes, aircraft, India has 694 as compared to 1,564 of China. Submarines also, India has just 16, China has 76. Naval assets, India is far behind. 295 India to 714 for China. Now, if you talk in terms of fighter helicopters, fighters plus helicopters, fighter aircraft plus helicopters, the figure for India is 520 and figure for China is 1222. But when you talk in terms of military personnel, China is outmatched. India has 3.4 million, China has 2.69 million. Now friends, let me come to the 4 reasons. First, why I think if China were to declare a war on India or fight a war with India, it may lose. First of all, let's come to the historical reason. And that's also the military reason. One of the military reasons, definitely. The historical reason is that the last war fought by China was 4 decades ago, way back in 1979, against Vietnam. And Vietnam gave them a bloody nose. The war lasted barely a month. And that too after Vietnam had invaded Cambodia and driven out the China-backed Khmer Rouge guerrillas. In response to this, China invaded Vietnam and China got a bloody nose. As per the Western estimates of the casualties of China, 28,000 killed and 43,000 injured. A few months later, China issued a statement after the war saying that we suffered 20,000 casualties, including injured. In comparison, the Vietnamese casualties were far less. And mind you, the most important thing, though China claimed victory in this war, China was never victorious. Why? Because Vietnamese troops stayed put in Cambodia for 10 good years after this. If China had won, how could Vietnamese troops could be there in Cambodia? Reason number 2, logistics and military. Most of China's air bases are in high altitude areas. Well, no doubt that China has highly developed 8 to 10 air bases near the vicinity, in the vicinity of LAC, in Tibet, for example. But because they are high altitude air bases, there is a payload penalty. They cannot, since they are taking off, they are going to take off from those air bases which are in high altitude. The payload has to be very less. They cannot fly with full payload, normal payload. In contrast, India's air bases are located way below. And yet, India can really surprise the Chinese in aerial strength. Well, there is a diplomatic and strategic issue also. And that is that unlike 62, when India fought all alone, this time India is not all alone. This time, well, no other foreign power will come in aid for India. No, obviously not. This is a highly selfish world. But all other powers, including Chinese friends like Russia, they will be hoping for Chinese losses so that they are put in their places. China is put in its place. US will be coming up in a big way in sharing its in real time basis intelligence with India. So It will be very, very difficult for China to wage this war. Now, that is the reason why the government of India has decided to call China's bluff. This is the right policy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi should go ahead with this policy. And he should call China's bluff just as he had called Pakistan's bluff by conducting surgical strikes inside Pakistan, in Balochistan area. So, let's see if Narendra Modi government calls China's bluff as well. I'll come back on this platform soon. Thank you very much. Do like and subscribe to my channel.